So I was a teen mom at 16. Did meet the guy that I thought was the love of my life. We kind of had this arranged marriage at around I think I was 17 after I had my son, and that was probably the right choice for our family. And since our family was known in the community and we had more additional family members who were elders that were known in the community, so we kind of went the traditional route. I am Laotian. I'm Southeast Asian, so you don't hear that type of story happen a lot in the U.S., but since there was a big community out here, it was more of a aspect of like, all right, here's what you chose to do, have a child at a young age, and now this is your route to just build your family and continue to grow as a young adult now. So we were in the relationship for 4 years, and there were ups and downs to it. I mean, we were both young. I believe he was 19, I was 17, so he was about 2.5 years older. And now I'm 24, mid-20s. And we were just having ups and downs. I graduated high school. My first child, Jaden, was 1 at the time, and he wasn't very involved. Everyone graduates high school and they just want to go and have fun. They don't have that responsibility. Well, for me, it was a different direction. I had to maintain a schedule, know that my child is first priority. Working would have been the option, which I did do, and also having an understanding of maturing as I guess you want to call me a child then, but now into a adult. So there was a lot to put into being a mother at a young age. Was it difficult? Yes, but I am so blessed and thankful that I had family who understood, like my mom and dad. They didn't accept that at first. They were kind of like, oh, you had your baby at a young age, like you probably should give him an adoption and all that other option. And I was like, no, like I had taken my parents into this, not Planned Parenthood, which I did go first, but I went into like a Christian, what is it called, like pregnancy clinic, where they actually save babies. Like the life of a child is a blessing, and that you would want to save your baby. So this was the agency that they had near my house, actually just up the street from my old house where I grew up. And I brought my parents in because I wanted them to see how much I love my son. Like when I first saw the ultrasound by myself at Planned Parenthood, when I was thinking about options of terminating, which obviously I had no gut to, because I only did it because I loved him at the time, and we were like, oh, we're still young, and we have more to our life. But for me, I knew I was going to be a mom. I've always loved kids, and I was like, you know what, I love this baby. Like from the time I saw that ultrasound, I was like, no, there's no way, you can't get me out of that. So either way, I brought them in there. They saw the ultrasound, and my mom went into tears. She just fell in love as well. My dad also, men put up a front where they're like, oh yeah, whatever. But like I saw it in my dad's eye. He's like, all right. So they took me back after, I believe, 6 months. So I was living with my ex, or the children, or father of my children, sorry. And his parents accepted it as well. They knew that it was his responsibility, but he was just all over, just being a young adult, just doing what he wanted to do. And for me, it was nice that they were supportive. His family was supportive, and they took care of me. And when you know what, they wanted me to come over and stay for a little, kind of have that connection with me, which is nice. Because you should be doing that when you're in an arranged marriage and you marry the guy, you know. It's just that they're very accepting, and I love that. I still view them, now that, you know, we're separated, I still view them as like mom and dad, like the grandparents of my children. Like, there's a good connection. I love that, and great communication. So anyways, going forward, I did end up being accepted back home, going to high school still, going to after school programs where I would be involved with like a mommy class, learn how to be a mother, and just learn how to cook, and just learn about the baby's growth, and learn about labor and all that jazz. So it was pretty cool. I mean, I am so thankful I got to go through all these programs that probably a lot of you guys haven't discovered yet, but I mean, this was 2009, so there's a lot of resources to help out and to just keep your life steady and going. And a baby's not going to stop anything. A baby is going to be the most beautiful gift that you've ever given, no matter how old you are. I mean, I don't want my kids to have kids at a young age, but then I want them to know, if you did make that choice, you have to learn how to grow into that and be a hard-working person. So after, again, he wasn't with me. He was kind of going around. My parents accepted me and whatsoever. I finally had Jaden. He came back into my life, and we lived on our own in our first apartment. I actually was ready to go to college because I was like, I really want to go to school. I still have the ability to learn and, you know, grow as a person, you know. That didn't stop me. Studies did not stop me at all. Like, nothing stopped me. But he was still going around doing whatever. I mean, I kind of let him because I was just like, you know what, I'm going to focus on my baby. I don't really care if you're going to go do this, do that. You have friends. I know them. I'm totally cool with it. So after, you know, just kind of experienced that moment after 6 months, I was like, you know, I'm getting tired of living with this man. And we also had family friends who lived with us, and they were also having a child. And it was really hard because I would go to work and then I wouldn't see him. I would only see Jaden. I'd see the, you know, family friends and their kids. And I'm like, this just doesn't seem right at all. Like, you just keep on going out and you don't care. You'll bring other people over and it's like, all right, cool. When is that time with me? So we split again, and Jaden, I believe, was turning 2. And I came back to my parents' house, and I was done living in that apartment. I gave all the money I possibly can, and from there we moved on. I started going to school, and then one summer before the next semester, I ended up getting back with him. And again, it was out of young love, and we had another one, which was Vienna, my one beautiful girl. So we ended up living with my parents, going back and forth with his parents, and I was like, I'm not liking this. I now ended up with 2 jobs and also going to school, and it was just like, this is crazy. Like, you know, I want my own place now. I'm ready to move forward with, like, how we would make our lives into successful, you know, a foundation for us to get, like, a career, not a job, a career. And I wanted him to go to school and whatever. I mean, I wasn't pushing it towards him. He always thought about it, but he started going into that route again where he was hanging out with friends a lot and just doing all these stuff that I didn't want to do. I was just maturing while I was seeing this. Like, I was like, all right, I'm just going to keep on going. I was being Miss Independent with my children. Now, I had Vienna, and after 6 months, then we left again. And I was like, I can't do this no more. I am so happy to be in school and have that resource of acknowledging like the psychological part of me, just dwelling on just loving him because I needed him for the kids' sake. I didn't love him because we loved each other. Like, we just loved each other because of the kids. So it just wasn't healthy. I just didn't feel comfortable in it. And I left. I just left and I was like, bye. Like, we can still talk and be mutual and still be able to have the kids go back and forth. And we ended up doing that, and it was perfectly fine. Some people's life and situation doesn't happen that way, but it happened for me. So after Vienna turned 2, I started dating, and I met a lot of people in my life that, you know, I look back, well, I don't want to look back, but I look back and I'm like, okay, they were in my past. Thank you, God, for just keeping me going. They weren't the right ones, but it's okay. I learned from my mistakes, and I just kept on gradually growing and, you know, learning how to accept that now I need to be a better person for my children and for my life, and where I want my kids to see me as a role model, as a person they can look up and be like, wow, my mom went through all that, and it's still gradually becoming successful and achieving things. So I want to say, yeah, I was dating for a while, and I was done with school for a little bit. I took a break because I was working 3 jobs, and I was like, I need to make money, I need to make money. I was a money granter. I was like, that was my motivation. That's where I was like, I need to make money for the kids, have food on the table, be able to now have money to buy my own vehicle, and then to save for whatever trip. I traveled a lot while Vienna was, I think, 3-4 years old, and Jaden as well was turning 5. So I traveled a lot. Without the kids, sometimes with the kids, it all depends on, I was just trying to be adventurous. I didn't neglect my children. It was acceptable through, you know, the father of my children that, like, I needed a break. Because, I mean, I worked that much jobs and that much time put in that I needed a break. And I explored a lot within those 2 years. And then, going fast forward here, I met my husband, Jackson, and the kids, I think, were now 4 and 6. I believe that, right? I think Jaden was 5.5, because the kids are about a year and a half apart, something like that. I can't think for the life of me right now. And I met my husband through my sister. My sister worked with my Jackson that time, and, you know, I found him on social media. I've always visited the place that he actually was stationed. They were both in the Marine Corps, and I was just like, oh, okay, like, this is interesting. I met a lot of people who were connected to him but never crossed any kind of contact with him until social media, where everyone's like, oh, that's Kat's sister, you know, like, do you know her, whatever. Like, I've heard stories, like, people are like, oh, yeah, that's her sister, like, she's very interesting, she's a mom, and I heard she's working a good job and whatever. Like, you should try to talk to her, because he's gone through whatever he went through, where he actually has my stepdaughter, which I love with my life, my whole life. I don't want to say she's my stepdaughter. She's like my second daughter. Obviously she is. But, so he went through a situation where he was, you know, ready to meet someone, and I was ready to settle down. I was ready to meet someone I knew I was going to spend my life with. And we dated, we talked for a couple months, and then we were just so in love with each other. I mean, we just had the same situations. We connected, like he can tell me something, or we could be comfortable doing things. I don't want to TMI on that, but like we were just like a couple, like even though we were dating long distance, we were able to just manage the connection, and I loved that. So now fast forwarding, we got married. We found out, I think a month later, that we were pregnant with Bryson. So this is our fourth children altogether. So it would be my third, but fourth in our blended family. And we had Bryson in Jacksonville, North Carolina, where he was stationed, and we were down there for a year because I moved down there after I left my good job, and I love that job. I mean, I still connect with some of the people out there. They're probably watching right now, but I loved it so much. It was a great team to work with, and I carry on how much of impact they had in my life and my career to have that experience to grow into wherever I am right now. So I'm thankful for you guys. But so I left my job, and I still had my second job that I kept, and I just transferred down to Jacksonville, worked while I was pregnant, had Bryson. Then it was time for Jackson to get out. Well, we found out when, like a week after Bryson was born, that he was diagnosed with Hirschsprung's disease. And Hirschsprung's disease is, if I am explaining it correctly, I was not functioning well after my postpartum. I didn't have the baby blues, but I just had a lot going in my mind, like the kids going to school, who's going to watch Vanna, and just all this stuff. Like, it was just crazy. And, like, the move, and, like, just where we could go. It was a lot for me. So, Hirschsprung's disease is, and I'm going to cheat a little, but it is the tube, the stomach part, the digestive part of the stream. If I can draw it out, I could probably explain it a little bit more, but it's like almost to the end of the part where you have your bowel movement. Well, Bryson didn't have his bowel movement. He started becoming more bigger in the stomach part. I'm explaining it in like elementary part right now. So he started dilating, that is not the right term. He started expanding a lot in his stomach, and he was not having those bowel movements. So the doctor's like, okay, did you try to burp him or whatever? I mean, I've nursed before with Vienna. I did it for 2 years with her. I did it about half a year with Jaden, so 6 months. And I knew I was going to breastfeed Bryson, nurse him. And I was like, okay, well, this is weird. Like, my baby is eating a lot, but his stomach is getting big. And they're like, no, this is not right. So after that last feeding where they were like, okay, this is weird. Why is he not burping? He threw up everything. Like, it just, like, covered the whole the bed, like the hospital bed. I was like, this is crazy. What is going on? And they're like, well, this usually happens. Probably he'll poop the next following 2 hours. Yeah, that didn't happen. His stomach just kept on growing more and more and more, and he just wanted to keep on eating and eating, but it's not going anywhere. So that's how they diagnosed it. I mean, I didn't want to get into the emotional part where they explained it to us, and he had to go into incubator and whatever. I was just going crazy because it's like, this is just not happening right now. So a week later, they, flew him up to Duke, in Raleigh-Durham, Duke University, where medical studies is known, and we had to stay there. I was able to still have a hospital bed since I was nursing Bryson and all that jazz. So it was really nice. We stayed at the Ronald McDonald for a little bit. We went back and stayed at the hospital for a little bit. So I was able to maintain a lot of milk. Like, I think I posted it on my Instagram. It was a lot. That wasn't even half of it. I had like, I could carry a whole cart of it. Like, stacks of it. It was so much. And they would stack a bunch in their like fridge. And they were like, this is a huge 2 bags of it. Like, those IKEA bags, you can just carry them around. It was just tons. And on top of that was carts of it. So I produced a lot, which was good. I tried to slow it down too. When finally Bryson got his surgery done, it was successful. It was just amazing. And now he's perfectly normal and fine. Like, he can run around. Like, he didn't just walk when he turned 6 months. He just would crawl, walk. He would do everything normal as a child. So that's the good part. Now we're talking about the present. So after Jackson got out, Bryson had his surgery. Jackson did extend his contract, so then we were still able to live in Jacksonville until Jaden got to school. So by the time it was July 2015, and I was like, I need a job. I need to make money. I need to help my husband. My husband just got out. Like, he's not able to jump into a job right away. So, I mean, that was the waiting part, being patient and all that. So we lived separately. I came back to Minnesota because I had a lot more opportunity and connection up there. And Jackson went back down to his hometown in Alabama. And from this time on, I think it's almost 2 years that we've been separately living distance. It's hard. But I feel like I'm so used to it since our relationship started like that. Excuse me. I came from a family that also, if I'm jumping into this, we're very strictly Buddhist. And, you know, it was inspiration, you know, seeing it from my mother-in-law and my father-in-law and my in-laws. Like, they showed me a different light into my life because I knew I was going to go through the struggle where I couldn't see my husband. And I looked up to God and I was like, you've always been here with me. You've always been there for me since I was a child. Like, I almost grew up just independently as a child. This is when I discovered that God was with me. I would walk home every single night. I mean, my parents would just come home a little bit late from work or, doing other activities with my other siblings, and I would go to free skate, open session from like 4 to, I think it was like 5 to 9, almost 4 hours. And I would go, sometimes they would go with friends or whatever, but then they would leave or whatever, shenanigans. And I would just walk home. 1, 2, it's 2 blocks, but it's actually like hills and hills down this darn road. And I would just walk, and I'm like, how did I not have anything happen to me? That's when I knew I was like, my whole life, like, he was always there watching over me and protecting me. And I knew I had something in my heart spiritually and mentally and emotionally. So I can get into that story later on my testimony. I did get baptized during this time where Jackson and I were separated not very long ago. I started continuing my faith and going to church, doing devotionals, writing a lot. So that's what's getting me through. And also now I'm occupying myself with a full-time job, getting the kids into a routine and a schedule, and just like whenever I have some free time, I'm able to just connect with the kids, have some time with them. And I mean, I'm totally fine the thing is the loneliness from not having him here. I mean, we always Skype and we always call each other, but the worst thing is not physically being with each other. So now I'm here temporary, and I'm hoping and praying that we are together as I'm building this experience with this job that is, it's not a job, it's a career. And I'm so blessed with it, with all the opportunities. I mean, when I got home, I went into IT program, and I went to a just good setting for myself. I just kept on motivating and pushing myself. Like, this is not gonna let you down. Like, being separated, it's gonna build me. It's gonna make me stronger, and the Lord is gonna give me the strength and renew each and every single part of my body with whatever I can to keep on building myself a foundation. And it's for His kingdom. And it's, again, my life is put into so much that I'm still able to just see that light and be happy and be okay and just keep